At first glance, Salisbury Plain seems like a quiet expanse of rolling green hills and open sky. A serene canvas stretching outward from the sacred stones of Stonehenge. But for those who have walked the land at dusk or dawn, when the light fades and the air thickens with mist, the plain becomes something else entirely. A stage where the past returns, not in ruins or memory, but in phantom form. The terrain around Stonehenge is not just empty farmland. It is one of the most spiritually and archaeologically dense landscapes in Britain. Dotted with barrows, burial mounds, and long-forgotten footpaths, Salisbury Plain was once a site of great ritual significance. These burial sites, some dating back over 5,000 years, are believed to have formed part of a ritual landscape. Processions would have moved across these fields from distant settlements. The dead carried on wooden biers, their loved ones in solemn line behind, all moving toward the towering monument on the horizon. Throughout the 20th and 21st centuries, walkers, campers, and even military personnel stationed nearby have reported seeing ghostly processions on the plain, particularly at twilight or under the light of a full moon. One of the most detailed accounts comes from Dr. Alan Trevane, an archaeologist conducting fieldwork near Durrington Walls in the late 1990s. While sketching a nearby mound, he noticed what appeared to be a group of a dozen people walking in single file across a ridge in the distance. They were dressed in primitive clothing, animal hides and long robes, their heads bowed, some carrying poles or tools. Thinking them historical reenactors, he turned away to grab his binoculars. When he looked back less than 10 seconds later, they were gone. The ridge was bare. No footprints, no sound. Dr. Trevane's description matched other independent reports gathered over the years. The figures move slowly, deliberately, and seem utterly unaware of the modern world. They make no sound, no footfalls on the earth, no murmur of voices. Just a silent line of figures gliding across the grass, always toward Stonehenge, and always vanishing before they arrive. One consistent feature of these sightings is the sudden drop in temperature that precedes or follows the procession. Witnesses describe an unnatural chill, even on warm summer evenings, often accompanied by goosebumps, dizziness, or a sensation of being disconnected from time. Some claim the air thickens, or that the light becomes oddly dull, as though nature itself is holding its breath. A Wiltshire shepherd in the 1970s told a BBC radio interviewer that while tending sheep in the early morning, he saw a candlelit line of figures marching toward the circle. He said he felt like he was being watched, and his dogs began to whimper before fleeing toward the nearby woods. The entire flock followed. Paranormal researchers are split on the nature of these ghostly processions. Some believe they are residual hauntings, a spiritual imprint left behind by centuries of ritual. In this theory, the stone circle and its surrounding lands act like a psychic tape recorder, replaying scenes of mourning or ceremony when conditions are right. Others propose that the phenomenon represents a time slip, a rare but documented event in which 2 points in time briefly overlap, allowing modern observers to glimpse scenes from the distant past. There's even a third, more speculative theory, that these processions are not echoes of the dead, but living spirits, the consciousness of an ancient people who, in their own moment, are walking to the stones unaware that their march will one day be seen from the future. As if Stonehenge itself bends time around it like gravity bends light. Spiritual practitioners and earth energy workers believe the alignment of Stonehenge to the solstices, combined with its position on intersecting ley lines, creates a kind of gateway, These ghostly processions are seen most frequently near solstices and equinoxes, during fog or mist, when visual boundaries blur, immediately before thunderstorms, when atmospheric energy surges. Some claim the land becomes thin at these times, not just the veil between the living and the dead, but between eras, and that the figures walking the plain are not ghosts, but pilgrims arriving for a sacred rite, just as they did thousands of years ago. Modern Stonehenge is a site of tourism and spectacle. But when the crowd departs, when the winds hush and the land settles into twilight, something older stirs in the grass, a procession that never ends. You may not always see them, but if you feel the sudden chill, the weight of unseen eyes, or the tremor of memory in your bones, you may have brushed the edge of their silent march. They are still coming. Stonehenge is still waiting.